Good afternoon, Cameron. Welcome to the show, man. Beyond the Heavy. All right, this is going to be for season 3, man. So you opening it up. All right. So this
Nice. I
is
like it.
great, man. I wanted to surprise you with that before I hit
I
record.
like it.
Yeah, man, Cameron. So how do I pronounce the band name? I was saying Carbellion.
Pretty close, man. Pretty close.
What
Carbellion.
Carbellion? Damn it! Oh my God. See, I'm not good with this.
No, it's funny. It's funny you say that
Yeah,
because everybody, it's a made up word, right? So
yeah,
everybody gets it wrong. Everybody
yeah,
gets it wrong. So
yeah.
the easiest way I tell people to remember is like car rebellion, Carbellion. It's not what it
Carbellion.
means, but that's kind of the easiest way to remember it.
That's where we're at. I got you. I got you. Yeah. So like kind of like what I hit record before I hit record, I've been in a big, like Clutch and Queens of Stone Age kind of vibe these past couple days, and
Sure.
then you guys came in. I was like, "Oh, you guys just fed the beast."
Nice.
I was one of my favorite songs from you guys is the Weapons of Choice, the title song off the off the
Okay.
off the new album, man. I like it. It's bare bones, man. It's straight to the point. But talk to me. Every interview I like to start off kind of just asking, where does the band come from, right? Where does how did we come about with this album? Talk to me.
Okay. Well, man, I tell you, so Carbellion's been around for a little while, right? We are not a new band, even though we're kind of breaking into some new areas and kind of relaunching some notoriety with the new record, Weapons of Choice. But ultimately, the band has been for a long, long time,
Mm,
and we're two original members, almost three because our drummer, who's now our lead guitar player,
mm,
for the last like 5, 6, 7 years, um, has been with us almost since the very beginning too. So
okay.
and even our drummer and our bass player, which are not original members, have been with us for over 5 and over 7. You know what I mean? I think it's time flies. It's probably closer to 8 and 10, but so a long time. We got together, man, because we were in different bands, coming up and stuff, and we were, the group of people that are in this band always, were the people that like were the doers or the most serious people about touring and promotion and really buckling down to try to write the best songs possible, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
um that's kind of how it all came together. And then
Hmm.
influence wise, kind of what we all came from similar things. We're all rock people, metal, hard rock, stoner rock, kind
Okay.
of all of those things, whole plethora, some punk in there, a bunch of different stuff. So that's kind of how Carbellion came to be. And with the different influences and the fact that we come from different bands and backgrounds, it's not like we all were this particular band is what we want to sound like. And
Yeah.
that's why it's a little bit different than I think
Mm,
any
okay.
particular band, right? I mean, it's like
Hmm.
people, I love to ask people, what do you think we sound like? And get everything from Metallica over
Uh,
to like, some Queens of Stone Age or something completely different, right? I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
which are very different kinds of rock, and you hear everything in between. I mean, you
Hmm.
name it. It's kind of like people associate what they kind of dig, and if they dig us, and we've heard a lot of different stuff over the years, and none of it's bad.
Yeah.
People say you sound like AC/DC. I'm like, dig it. People
You're like,
say you sound,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so we hear, people hear a lot of influences because we have a lot of influences.
Okay, okay. And I'm looking at it, and some of the things that people were saying, maybe like a Blackstone Cherry, people were saying like,
Yep.
the Foo Fighters, all that stuff. And you know what? That's it, it's good because you guys got that rawness. You know what I mean? As I was listening to you guys, it's very raw, very like when I mean bare bones, and I mean that as a compliment because
Yeah.
there's some bands that are like, hey, let's try to do this and try to do that. And you guys are like, hey, no, we're rocking it the way we want to, and it's our style. Don't put us in a box. And I already get that right off the first couple notes.
Awesome, man. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Appreciate that. I mean, I think you probably hear some of that live and that rawness is because we were a live band. We bring a pretty high energy show live, and it's like the band really, that's the power of the band, is really when it's live and on stage, right?
Yeah.
So when we come into studio, we try to capture some of that lightning in a bottle. And when
Hmm.
we're songwriting, we think about performing these songs, playing these songs. It's not just, we don't try to do things we can't do live. I guess so I would say we don't rely on studio magic and Pro Tools to save the day. We
Beautiful.
have to be able
Yeah.
to execute what we do. And so I think that's probably where you hear some of that rawness and some of that, I don't, sincerity almost to it, is because it goes back and forth real well between like a studio environment and recording. And like when you go see the band live, you're like, oh, okay, it's not like they're completely different. It's like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, no, and that's I think there's so much beauty in that. You have no idea, man, because you
Yeah, man.
know, this, you see nowadays, and I've talked about this with a couple cats that have been on the show. They're like, hey, you know, we could shred, we could do this, and they're virtuosos.
Yeah.
That's great, man. It has its place in the heavy. It does, it really does. But you know, for me personally, I gravitate bands like you guys, right? You know, we just hey, let's get the four floor, you know, four on the floor. Let's handle business. You
Yeah.
know, there's more heart. It's more honest. You know what I mean? Because you don't got to go through all the 1,000 notes per minute. You know what I mean? Which is cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, we
Yeah.
you know, but you guys, I really that's why I really like that song. That's why I really like, you know, weapons of choice. You know, listening. What is it? Listen for ghosts. You know, 20th
Hmm.
Century Boy, which is your top song on Spotify. You know, and I again immediately because what I like to do with some of the guys that come on, I like to put them on. Right, put on the headset and then just
Sure.
close my eyes and just kind of like feel it. You know what I mean? And you guys took me back, man. You guys took me back to the old school, and I appreciate that, man. Not a
Nice.
lot. You guys handle business. I love it. I love it. But I wanna ask you, you know, well, first before I ask that question, the name. Like I gotta know how did the name come about?
Where's it
That's a
come
big one.
from? That's always a big
Yeah,
one, right? I mean,
yeah,
I have told some
yeah,
stories over the years that are such BS, man. I mean,
yeah.
like I could, it's a Spanish ghost ship. I got that story, total BS. A bullfighter, a matador who was killed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I got that
yeah.
story. I can keep
Whew,
going. But
yeah.
the reality of it is, we fought about the band name. Me and the rhythm guitar player Brandon
Okay.
BZR, the mighty BZR. So we got into this back and forth. Very bullheaded. We both had some. I think we had a bunch of good name ideas, but we couldn't settle on the perfect name. He'd have one he loved. I'd be like, it's good but not great, and vice versa. And so
Uh-huh.
we went through a bunch of different name ideas, and a lot of those actually became song titles on the first record, ironically, right?
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Wager Cage, Scar and Card, like those were some of the names we kind of floated around at different points. It just didn't
Mhm.
quite feel right. We ended up we had a show coming up. We were in the studio with doing our 3-song demo, the American Heavy Rock demo, the very first thing we did.
Okay.
Um, and I think it was Brandon. I'm pretty sure it was Beezer. He said, we'll just, because our previous bands that we were in, I was in a band called Carbon Parlor, and he
Okay.
was in a band
Okay.
called Whiskey Rebellion.
Uh,
Okay. So he said, we'll
uh,
just combine the names and call it like, Whiskey Parlor or Carbellion. And then Chris DeJerk, who
mm,
recorded that very first 3-song, and actually all these years later recorded Weapons of Choice. He was the studio
ah,
engineer and producer at Bell City Sound. And he goes, that's the name, guys. He spun around the
nice.
chair. He goes, that's the name. And we're like, what? Whiskey Parlor? He's like, no, 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 Carbellion. It's Carbellion. That's the
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
That's what this music. That's it. That's it. And
Yeah.
we were like, well, it's kind of cool because it's a made up word. If you search Carbellion, we're it. You're not going to find a bunch of other stuff. Anything on
Yeah.
social, man. If you can spell it, and we gave you a sticker, because so you
Yeah.
can, right? Then you can find us, right? So
Yeah.
that became the name, man.
That's I love it. I love it. You know, and what's cool about the name is that not only that it's made up, easy trademark right there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like because nobody's gonna be like, oh, we're Carbellion too. No, bullshit, man. You know,
right.
you know,
Not
there's
so
no
much, bro. Yeah,
exactly.
no,
There's not gonna be a
yeah,
copycat. You know what I mean? You guys have got it down. You guys and because when I hear Carbellion and then I see the cover for Weapons of Choice, I'm like, oh, these guys are really into cars. You know, so I was like, maybe
yeah, and
that's
we
why.
are. That
Yeah,
helps.
yeah. Yeah, which is cool, which is cool. But I was like, man, like I gotta ask him about the name, man. Just
Yeah, man.
how it comes together. But there's to be honest with you, it's almost, and I want to ask you because you're in the band, it's
Yeah,
kind of like a good marketing tactic,
it
right?
is.
Like it's kind of like, hey, we're Carbellion, and then people are like, well, let me Google what that is. Well, all right, well now we got your attention, right? Is that safe to say what happens with you guys?
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, if you plug it into a Google search engine or you plug it in any social, I think you're going to get us. And so, and if people, you know, even the whole car thing, right? People can
Yeah,
kind of remember that and associate it a little bit. And we're all into that. I mean, we're all into cars and motorcycles and all that shit. So we're super into that stuff on the side outside of being in the band.
yeah,
So it works out well. And, the style of music, we weren't really stoner rock. We weren't really rock and roll. We weren't really metal. We weren't, but we were kind of all those things a little bit.
yeah.
So when people would say, what kind of music do you play? I'd say heavy rock. You know,
I
we're
like that.
American heavy rock, and
Yeah,
that's
I
why
like
the
that.
name of the demo, the original 3 song, is called American Heavy Rock.
I was about to say that. I was like, it's that's probably the best way to describe it, right? I want to say describe. I don't want to say subgenre, because we could do that whole subgenre dance
Sure,
game,
man.
whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's good heavy. I love how you guys say it, man. Good heavy rock, but kind of transitioning though. I want to get to know
Yeah.
you. I want to go beyond the heavy with you because I want to.
Yeah, man.
I love talking to singers, kind of like what right I said before I hit record. You
Sure,
know,
man.
inspiration wise, because you got some pipes, brother. You
Thank
sound
you.
good. You sound so good, man. I would like I think like I was probably a singer in my past life or something, man, because I'm always like, man, I wish I could do that, man. you
You
know
can't. You just got to work at it, man.
yeah,
It's
I just
all
got to work on it, man. I just got to work on it. But for, you're ahead of the game. I really like this style. What are some of the influences? Do you have a technique? Talk to me about that.
yeah, man. So like when I first started singing, go back to like high school, right? I mean, yeah, I came up on classic rock and my parents' records and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I, kind of associated with as a kid. And then as I got into high school and stuff, I got more into, heavier bands, Pantera and stuff like that. As it was new Metallica, I was, all and
The
then grunge
classics.
came out and
Mm,
grunge kind of spun it, and it was like, man, this music's kind of deep, or it's a little bit more artistic in what it's doing. And you got these guys like Lane Staley and Chris Cornell, and this guy could sing, man. And
man.
guys like Phil Anselmo that could just scream, tear the balls off a bull with the vocal, right?
Exactly.
Kind of Vision of Disorder a little bit, and some of these other kind of bands. Helmet, I was a big Helmet guy,
Oh, yeah.
so I kind
Yeah.
of got into all that. So I was into the yelling and the shouting and the screaming and some of that stuff, but I also liked the soulful singing side of what a lot of the grunge singers had, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so when I was that's what I would try to do, and it took me a long time. Now I was a pretty good screamer early on, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, just picked it up enough on how to do it, kind of
Yeah.
thing, and just doing it a lot, and
No,
kind of got
no.
into that.
Okay. Okay.
But I always wanted to kind of mix up the ability to sing with it, right? Like the
Mm.
kind of blues rock, soulful kind of rock vocal. Not really radio as much, like not really melodic rock, as more as just kind of like the soulful side of it, almost a little bit of like, preaching while you're singing a bit and stuff. So
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
I was kind
Yeah.
of into that.
I
And later,
was. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry.
yeah,
So
go
no, no,
ahead.
no. What I was gonna say is like when you said grunge, I was like, I see it. I see it because you got that beautiful melody that you know how to come in with the words that like
Thanks,
a
man.
Lane Staley would do, or a Chris Cornell, legends. You know what I mean? And I can and if
Thank
you
you.
and I love how you said grunge because I can't really think of a bad grunge singer. Like they're all pretty good. You know you know.
That era of
Yeah.
music, I mean, it's like rock oriented music, even the alternative rock
Yeah.
stuff and the metal stuff and the all of it was kind of apexed for a minute. I mean, you got to think timing wise. If you think of like 1968 to 1972 as like the peak of classic rock music,
Uh-huh.
those people would have been having kids that would have been right around that time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It skips generations, they say, and then you get kind of like that early 90s, and you had an explosion of all this kind of music. And the Chili Peppers, and you have all those bands kind of in the late 80s, and Jane's Addiction and that heavy alt rock stuff that was coming out. So yeah, man, there's a huge influence on me and a kind of an awakening to a lot of stuff. And that got me to Quicksand and um,
Mm.
there was some punk stuff in there that I was into as well. You know what I mean? I was kind of went through all of that. Late 80s to kind of mid 90s was kind of a zenith for how I became as a singer, right? Or what I
Mhm.
strive to do. Kind of found my own voice in it, I like to
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But it was from those influences for sure.
Yeah, man. No, you could hear it. You could hear it. That that you're like that's Cameron from, that's you could hear that.
Thanks,
Like
man.
I was really that's what you grabbed me, right? I heard the band, I was like, okay, the band's grooving, band's great. But then when I heard you sing, I was, oh yeah, that's it. Because that's a really tough gig as a singer because you're kind of like, hey, this is the selling point, right? Like the band could be great, but then if the singer is kind of like, you got to, that's what separates the favorites to the hey, not so much. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
when I heard, yeah, I was like,
yeah.
wow.
The world, I always feel bad for everybody. The world is not fair because all bands will be judged good or bad probably by the singer, which
Yeah.
is not fair to the rest of the band. I play bass in another band too. So it's like,
Oh, okay, okay.
so I get it. It's not fair to the rest of the band. But if the band is fantastic and the best prog thing in the world ever, if the singer sucks, no one will care.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And the
I mean,
band can be
yeah,
kind of cruddy in some cases, right? Where the band's just real backbone, just kind of backbeaty. If the
yeah.
singer's amazing, people think it's the best thing ever. So it's the unfortunate, it puts a lot of pressure on, but it also, you win and you lose by some of that, right?
Exactly.
Um,
What's up, everybody? Want to jump in really quick to tell about one of my favorite brands and my brothers over at Heavy Defender Merch. Heavy Defender Merch products are a must-have for any heavy metal fan. Their banners, pins, and apparel is made from high-quality materials that feature bold, eye-catching designs that are truly to capture the essence of the metal lifestyle. The shirts are comfortable and durable as hell, man. The hoodies are perfect for when you're leaving the whiskey and it's fucking 2 o'clock in the morning, it's cold as shit. Heavy Defenders offers a great selection of products for any metalhead looking to represent their passion in freaking style. With unique designs and quality material, hey, check out HDM.
I think what's interesting with Carbellion is it's like as much as appreciate the context and the flatter and the vocals. I mean, I think the riffs, man, that's always been kind of
Ooh,
like that's
yeah.
what inspires me with it. Is
Mm.
what's our riff? What's our we say respect the riff, right? So it's like if we've
Is
got
that
the
on a is that on a shirt? That has to be on a shirt.
it is
Okay,
respect the
good.
riff.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
good, good. Because I'm like,
yeah,
you got me. I'm gonna buy that shirt right now.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's we got a Carbellion American Heavy Rock, and on the back it says respect the riff.
I got
So
it.
it's like
It's mine. Double XL. Let's go. Let's do it.
we'll talk after you.
There
Yeah.
we go.
So
There we go.
but yeah, so the riffs, I mean, we've been very much a guitar riff rock.
Ah,
I mean, the drums got to be great, the bass got to stand out, the vocals got to, but that riff is usually how we start with the songwriting too, right?
hmm
So it's
hmm
like if the riff hooks me and it hooks the drummer and the bass player, but for me especially as the vocal melody or whatever I'm going to do comes in, if the riff hooks me, then we got a song,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
we're I don't want to take away from the songwriting part of the riff.
Oh no. Oh no, 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 no,
That's
no, no, no.
a
I'm
big
just no,
part of
I'm just
Carbon.
saying no, no, I was gonna break it down. I mean, like, no, I wanted to start with you, right? But I was like, no, but no, the band is great. No, the riffs is where it lives, man. The riff is
Yeah.
where it's at. That's where you guys are at because I mean, like I said, the band is grooving, and then the added flavor, the sprinkle on top, right? The nice marinade was you coming in, and I was like, oh, there it is. Like this
Nice.
band got it, and the thing about Carbellion and bands that are similar to you in that genre is very riff based, but then what's beautiful is that it gives it this area to kind of be, hey, we could go a little bit more melodic, right? Or hey, we could just throw it down on a breakdown or something, you know what I
Sure,
mean?
man.
You guys, that's why I respect the riff is such a good, damn, I wish I came up with that. Damn, you guys beat me to it.
we were
But
doing we were
yeah.
doing yeah, during the pandemic we were doing a whole series of social stuff that I was coming up with, like all this Zen, worship the riff, respect the riff,
There,
be the riff. It's like we were the riff, right? It was like a thing. And
yeah,
respect the riff is always the finish. So
that's good. Ah, damn. See, I wish I was on that campaign, man. Damn. That's good, man. That's good. But I mean, how is the band chemistry? I'm assuming it's really, really good. I know you said we kind of you guys have some members kind of moving around and stuff like that, right? But talk to me about how some of the things that the band has done, or that you guys are
yeah, yeah,
they're
man. So I
vibing.
mean, like coming up, that it's always been a critical part of the success of Carbellion has always been the people in the band. I mean, outside of the music, outside of what we've, the work ethic, which are requirements at a certain level for both. There's also we have to be crew. We got to be like that. And so, it, you know, the original lineup of the band had that. Um, people moved on because of family commitments and things like that, right? And we're still tight with those guys to this day that are not in the band. Peter
Of
Risch,
course.
Steve Richgruber, Regan Collette. These are guys that were in the band. Aaron, original drummer Aaron. Um, these are guys we were tight with. So, but as life happens, as we get new people in, it was always very critical that they could gel with us, not just musically, but like as people. We got to be on the
Mm.
same page with stuff. I don't low tolerance for bullshit when it comes to like this band musically, outside of the band room, in the band room. we toured quite a bit, especially early on. We used to tour a lot. Now we're pretty selective about it, but we still do it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, and you got to, back in the day, you got to ride in a van, 2,000 miles, sleep in the same van, share and everything.
Yeah.
You can't want to kill each other after 24 hours because you got 2 weeks, 3 weeks of screwing around left where you're going to be in that same confined area, and you got to have each other's back. So
Yeah.
with the current lineup, Brandon Bauer, Mighty BZR on rhythm guitar, Jamie Damrow on lead guitar, originally the drummer, but now our lead guitar player. Brent Nims, Bent Rims on
Band
drums.
Ravens, nice.
He actually helps write some songs too, so
Okay.
he's a really good orchestral. He's got a big idea guy. And then Shepherd the Lost Sheep, Steve Shepherd, Shepherd the Lost Sheep, that's what we call him. On bass, he's a real blue collar, just solid dude.
Okay.
So it's like all the way around, we got a good chemistry and a good gel going again, and I think that's really why the new record Weapons of Choice came out as strong as it did. We feel really good about this record. It's a complete thought with a lot of stuff going on, and it's the sum of the five guys and the time we spent. We started the record right as the pandemic hit, and then we kind of wrote and kind of did all the rest of it through. So by the end of the pandemic, we were kind of ready to release. It just kind of worked out that way in a weird way. But I think it made for a pretty good record because of the guys that are in it.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. No, and you could hear it, like I said. And there's a couple bands I've said that on the interview or on the podcast too, that hey, you could feel the chemistry, right? And but I like always hearing your guys' interpretation, right? Of like how, hey, what's going on in the band, right? Because sometimes we forget that yeah, we're musicians, but we're dads. Right. We got jobs, right? We got, I like how you said the blue collars, this stuff is
Oh yeah,
it's honest music. You know what I mean? It's because I know you guys got lives outside of the band, but when it comes together, hey, no, we're family, right?
that's
We're
it.
brotherhood. Yeah, yeah. I like that. I like that. But you guys, and one thing I want to transition into is that you guys are from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, how is the scene over there? How are you guys playing? Like, is there a pretty good rock scene, kind of heavy music scene over there? Or how do you guys go about that?
Yeah, I mean, the Wisconsin scene's solid, Milwaukee, Sheboygan, Plymouth, Green Bay, Madison, Racine, Kenosha. Got a lot of rock, a lot of metal, a lot of alt stuff. I mean, there's a good plethora, a lot of blues here because we're
Okay.
not very far from Chicago. So you get a lot of stoner and doom out of Chicago too, and some really, trouble is out of there and other bands, right? So we got a good background on stuff. So I think local scene over the years, I think like all local scenes has struggled a bit, with
Mm,
venues and live music and places to play just in
mhm,
general.
mhm,
But we've
mhm,
always had some solid joints, some solid
mm.
places. And even as places came and went, there's always been somebody to pick up the torch and make sure there was a venue to come and for people to come to and talk music, see music, kind of have that be a big part of it.
Yeah.
So I'd say the Wisconsin scene, it's the Midwest. Kind of get back to blue collar thing, man. It's roll up your sleeves. We're doing this, and that's kind of like that's the vibe of a lot of things, and people say what they mean for better for worse, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So kind of makes you tough a little bit too, which is good and it's important.
I,
It's important in this business, and um, so yeah, I mean, I'd say the scene in Wisconsin, it's okay. I mean, it's not people go, oh, Los Angeles or oh, New York or Seattle, or it's
stay
like,
stay where you're at, brother.
dude,
Please
yeah, it's
don't
the
come over
thing, right?
here. Don't come
And
over here. Yeah, I'm trying to get out too, dude. So
I travel. I mean, I
yeah,
travel all over, so
yeah,
I've seen the good and the bad. And you know what? There's talented bands and people doing good stuff
yeah,
all over the place. I think it matters, especially in today's internet age, man. It
yeah.
matters less about where you're at and more about what you're doing. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, but I think that's what's going to make you guys even more successful. I mean, you guys are already successful as it is, but I think that's what's going to make you guys is that it's honest. I have to always kind of go back to the honesty, and it's like you there's no tiptoeing around it, right? Because there's some bands that are like, hey, we have this image, right? And
Yeah,
then, like, dude, you work at AT&T or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like
yeah,
you're
yeah,
not,
yeah,
you can't
yeah.
be, like this like dark. I'm just spitballing here,
Oh
but
yeah,
like black metal guy, and then you, yeah, you,
yeah,
you're delivering pizzas and stuff. You know what I mean? It's just it's not, doesn't work
yeah.
out. And with you guys, you're like, hey, no, like, dude, we work, we're blue collar guys. It's the culture too that really is, as I'm listening to you guys, it's embedded in you guys. And then that's where the music comes from, right? That
Oh
that
yeah.
that that culture of like, hey, as you said, I like how you said it, roll up the sleeves and get to work.
A little bit. I mean, for sure. I mean, there's a little bit of that, I guess you'd say punk rock ethos, right? That
Mm,
people might say that's a bit of it. Not that we're not a punk rock band, but there's some influences there. And there's a little bit of like, get in the van. That's kind of like that, you know, put up or shut up,
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's
kind of, so
that's
kind of just straightforward, like, hey, this,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
little
yeah.
bit, man. Beer drinkers and hell raisers.
There it is. Yeah,
It's kind of
yeah,
where we
yeah.
come from. So I mean, and even in some of the song, if you think about like, what some of the songs are about. I mean, some of it's like we're all over the board in some of the topics and the lyrics that I write about, the things that I say, right? Some might be more storytelling, some might be a little tongue in cheek. Other things might be a little bit about the world around us right now, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I wrote the lyrics for this stuff, during the pandemic. And there's a couple songs like Weapons of Choice and Preacher that are very much sign of the times. And it's not about telling people what to think or taking a side
Nah.
politically, but it's a little bit about like, man, you got to think about it though.
Yeah.
Just do yourself a favor, get educated on it, think about it. If you're going to form an opinion, that's great. Don't hate your fellow man for his opinion being different,
Exactly.
right? That's a big thing we got to really. I mean, we're in this culture of against. It's in
Oh,
one of the songs.
yeah.
What am I about? I'm against that. No, but what are you about?
Yeah.
What are you about? Don't tell me I'm against that. What are you about? Right?
Yeah.
And I think we're in a time where it's difficult right now. Not that our record's going to change the world, but I wish more people would think for yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Think for
Yeah.
yourself. There's
Well,
nothing wrong
yeah.
with that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of cognitive dissonance going on, man. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of people just like blindly following things. And I think you as a musician and your band, it's a reflection of society, right? Like
A little bit.
you guys are kind of just like, hey, like this is what's happening, but hey, think for a second, right? Hey, let's lower the anger, the intensity. Yeah, it's aggressive music, but it's still good. You know what I mean? It's positive. It's positive aggression. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we try to be
And
positive
yeah,
in some of the themes because it's stuff we live by. It's our mantras, right?
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But kind of going back to the scene, I know we were going
Yeah,
pretty beyond. I want to come back to that because I don't want to forget.
yeah.
Is so when you guys are playing live, I want to ask you: is it kind of hard for you to find some bands to play with you guys or to mix well with you guys, or
You
is there
know,
bands that you're kind of like, hey, now let's call them up and let's have a show or something?
I think it's a little bit of both, man. I mean, there's
Gotcha.
there's there's a lot of good bands. I mean, again, kind of getting back to the genre, we're a little bit all over. We could play with heavier bands, we could play with lighter bands, we could play with bands in a bunch of different rock-oriented genres pretty easily. So it's like, do we get along with the guys? Are they good at what they do? Guys and
Mm.
girls, I'll be fair. Are they good at what they're doing? Um, and the one thing I'll say is we try to play with bands. I always say I don't want to play with bands that I have to apologize for. Right. So
Okay.
when we take shows or if we add people to shows or we're setting them up, whatever we're doing, our tours, it's kind of like we want to play with bands that we're proud to play with, right?
Hmm.
Because they're good at what they do. And so we're fortunate, locally to have a good handful of bands for sure that are just like, yeah, we can always jam with these guys, we can always jam with those guys.
Mm.
um on the label now, well, between we got kind of a funky deal, we're on two labels. But on Eclipse
Nice.
Records, you got some great bands all over the world doing stuff that are super cool. And then Qumran Records out of Chicago is a little bit more in our backyard, and we play with some of those bands on some regularity, like bands like Spillage, and you got Sacred Dawn.
Oh, nice.
um we've got Diggeth from the Netherlands is coming over here, and going to do like a handful of
Man,
dates. So we got
man,
we
those
got a couple
guys.
dates with them.
As soon as you said dig it, I was like, you guys, perfect, perfect. Because I love those guys,
It feels
man.
good. We haven't played with them yet, but I'm excited about it, and
Dude,
our fans and
if
friends are excited about it. Like,
please take some footage, brother. You and Big H, you guys take. Yeah, he was on the
nice.
he's on the season finale of the Beyond the Heavy, man. Great guy, phenomenal human
That
being,
was a good
man.
dude.
I
Yeah,
can't. You guys are gonna tear the house down, man. I wish I was over there for that show. Ah, man, what I would give to go see that show. But take some pictures, man.
oh,
Be
we
in the
will.
moment. Those guys are great. You guys are great. Ah, fuck. If you guys ever come to California, man, you
It's
got
been a
love
while,
here.
man. It's been a while. We haven't been out to Cali in a long time. I mean,
No.
I grew up there originally, so I'm from
Oh,
San
okay.
Diego, and I got family
Oh,
in
nice.
LA. So
Okay.
um,
Okay.
you never
Okay.
know, man. You never know. We could get back out
Hey, you let me know when you're down here, brother. Hey, we're family already now, man.
there.
It's
There
just
you
it's
go.
too much over here, man. It's the pricing, the taxing on everything, dude. It's
That's why
just
I'm not back.
surviving.
I love it, but I'm not back, and that's why.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, man. But kind of going again back to the subject matter, kind of wanted. Sorry to keep going hop and hop, but I
Oh yeah,
really
no,
didn't
man.
want to
All
forget
good.
that. I
All
didn't want
good.
to forget that. Was just kind of real quick. I mean, the subject matter. I mean, how do does is are you're doing all the music as you kind of said, but you're doing the lyrics too? I mean, how does that go about?
So the lyrics, so like on the new record, Women's Choice, I wrote all the songs, all the lyrics, except for one,
Okay,
which our drummer wrote, Pity the Backseat. And
okay.
so I'll start with that. So Pity the Backseat, and that's one of our singles that's out there, and it's a real action, hard rock, action rock kind of punk and roll almost.
I was halfway through that song too.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So he wrote that one, and he actually wrote most of the music for it too. Like it was all his vision and his idea. That's his that's his like tribute really to The Outsiders, the movie and the book.
Oh, no
So
way.
yeah, so Pity
Oh,
the
cool.
Backseat is a line from the movie that Emilio Estevez says, and from the book, I think, 2-bit, right? So
Okay.
the whole song lyrically, if you've seen the movie, or if you go watch it again, or you read the book, or have read it and can remember, and you go back and you look at all the lyrics and you listen to the song, the whole thing's about that, right?
No
So
way,
that's
really.
his tribute to The Outsiders. Yeah, Pity the
Oh
Backseat.
man, I haven't seen that movie in years, man. In years, but
I
it's
went back and rewatched it because he was like, "Oh, it's about the Outsiders." And when he first gave me the lyrics and played and gave the song idea to us and all this, we're like, "Okay." So I went and rewatched the movie. I was like, "Oh, damn, this is great," you know.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
that one. I always call that out first because he wrote that one. That's his baby.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Um, all the rest of the songs, man, they come from different places at different times. Sometimes I'll hear the music, I'll hear the riff, right? I come back to
Yeah,
that riff and I go, man, it makes me feel a certain way. I'm the mood, the vision I have, even if I don't know what the song's about yet,
yeah.
it needs to be a feeling like this. It gives me this feeling. And so then I'll kind of get context and story. And some songs are stories, right? I mean, like the Jungle Song is,
Hmm.
is a fictional story, and it was based on how that riff made me feel, that dun 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 dun. So it's like
Okay.
this, it kind of had this like creepy jungle. I call
Yeah,
it the
yeah, like
jungle song,
tribal. Yeah,
tribal almost.
yeah, yeah.
So with no lyrics, for a working title, it was the Jungle Song. Like I said, it reminds me of being in the jungle.
I
So I
was
wrote a whole story about it, right?
you and here's the thing, man, and that's why I love you guys because I wanna I'm looking at the song titles. I'm a song title guy because
Okay.
that's what sells you, right? That's what's gonna
Yeah, yeah.
get you. And I saw the jungle song and I was like, huh. And I heard it, I was like, okay, I see where he's coming. I gotta ask him, maybe see if he's
Yep.
gonna go. And then you jumped right to it. You're like, hey, like the jungle song. I was like, oh wow, okay, okay, that's interesting. You'd go because you got like I said, pity the backseat, weapons of choice, kind of intense songs, right? Kind of
Yep.
rock songs, and then jungle song. But that's great though,
Jungle
because
Song
there's
is a different song. Yeah.
exactly. So that's what's so great about you guys, man. That's what I love. That's what I love, man. Hey, everybody, jumping in real quick just to let you know about today's sponsor, Metal and Iron. Are you a gym goer? Do you like listening to metal? Do you like lifting heavy? Well, Metal and Iron's got you covered with shirts and designs that are there to let people know that you're about the heavy lifestyle. None of this Gymshark shit, none of this Adidas, Nikes, nah, you're there to lift the heavy shit. So check it out. Use the code Beyond Heavy for 15% off and let them know Mayhem sent you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Bar Fight, they have this song, and Brent's like, we're gonna call the song Bar Fight. And I'm like, no lyrics, no idea. I'm like, okay. And he's like, write a song about a bar fight. I'm like, okay. So I
okay.
wrote this tongue-in-cheek story, kind of funny story about a bar fight. So that's about.
Yeah.
Listen for Ghosts was like the first song we really fleshed out with Brent on the drums. So it
Mm.
goes back a little bit before this record, but we hadn't recorded it. But that's very much, it's questioning: is this the death of rock and roll? All this EDM music and all these festivals. I was doing, doing some work at some festivals and stuff,
Mm.
and it's like, man, are we getting to a point where everybody just programs everything on an iPad and everybody uses
Oh,
GarageBand, and it's like nobody plays an instrument and kids don't play
yeah.
anymore? And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
That whole song is about that. Listen for ghosts. Listen for the rock and roll. It's not dead yet. It's haunting us, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of what that's about.
That's
And
it.
then you
That's
can,
very interesting. That's very interesting because I just saw today on social media that the owner of Spotify is going to allow AI music to be uploaded,
I don't know
and
about
I'm
that,
like, you
man.
know what? It's not gonna, maybe AI art is kind of probably gonna be here for a while, right? Let's just be real. But AI music is not gonna, it's not gonna do its thing because people, it's gonna sound too processed. It already does now, even when the humans do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it just, you go, what's the sincerity? How do you connect to it as a listener? When I listen to this, okay, maybe it hooks me and I go, oh, it's a good hook. It's catchy and I like this. Okay, okay. But then you want to go learn about the band or you want to go learn about what the song's about and how'd you get it? There's nothing.
Yeah, yeah. There's it's just blank, right?
So
Well,
to me, I'm not into it, man. Not
neither
into
am I. Because I love how you said that. Because how are we going to connect? Because like, well, I could listen to a riff 1,000 times, but if Tony
it.
Iommi wrote it, right? And I could the reason why it's like I could listen to Iron Man every day, all day,
Yep. Sure, man.
but
Sabbath.
it's Sabbath, man. It's the greatest band of all time. But why? Because it's not artificial. Because Tony Iommi wrote it. There's a story behind it, right? If we hear have the AI music, oh, there's those riffs are gonna get boring, man.
Yeah, man. You got to have a full picture. And I think that really to get the creativity and to get the uniqueness, you need multiple people
Yeah.
with multiple influences coming together to make something different. If you take every time a band member has changed in the band, it's changed the sound of Carbellion. We kept our core sound because of myself and Brandon and Jamie being in the band for so long and being original and all that. But it's like, but every time the band changed, and we don't have a song like "Pity the Backseat" in our old catalog because that Brett
Hmm.
really brought that influence.
Yeah.
Steve brought some influence in on the "In Due Time" EP when he on bass and kind of like how he kind of plays with a lot of power and he plays very straight ahead, but it's just like it's the muscle behind what he's doing. It's just
Oh
like
yeah.
it's a thump, and so I don't think you get that with AI, man.
No, you ain't going to. You ain't going to.
No
It's never.
soul. It's no soul,
Yeah. There's no soul, brother. It's. I mean, again, like I said, with the art, maybe here and there, right? I've seen some pretty cool A artwork, but
Yeah,
I mean, the Mona Lisa is going to be the Mona Lisa. Sabbath is going to be Sabbath. You know what I mean? It's
that's it. Nailed it.
yeah, man. Yeah, brother. But what's in store for Carbellion, man? What's coming up in the woodwork? I know we got the album that came out this year, right? It's still
Yep.
fresh. It's still good, but anything any big plans for 2024? Anything coming up?
Yeah, man. So like we really obviously focused a lot of this year on just getting the record out there,
Yeah.
social, make sure people had it and all that. And now we're playing some shows. We played Rock Fest over the summer, but that's a big stuff. But we're kind of, at this point, we're still writing. We're always writing. So we got the skeleton of about 6, 7 songs. Now we just got to flesh them out over time. So it's not going to be a this year thing or probably a spring thing. I think maybe we'll have some new material out. Maybe not full record, but we'll have some stuff out next year. But I
Gotcha.
think the big thing next year is we're going to get back to a little more touring. Um, we drop a couple new songs in the set, tease people with it that are not out yet,
Yeah.
but really take Weapons out. And, we're looking to play some festivals. We're having some really serious conversations I'm super excited about to go over to the UK and over to Europe,
Nice.
which we haven't done. That's something we've never done. Is
Hmm.
we've got fans over in Europe for a decade or more, but we haven't really ever delivered live for them over that. So we definitely want to do that. And we're talking to 2 festivals. Can't announce yet. There's 2 in the UK that we're talking to very seriously. And like I said, I pretty much say we're going to the UK next June, right?
Oh, nice, nice, man.
Um,
Yeah.
Probably do some other, maybe bounce around, maybe do Iceland, maybe do the Netherlands. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we got some friends in Sweden with Outshine and Descalier. We'll see.
Nice.
And Storm. So um yeah, man, there's it's gonna be like some big shows, some big festivals. And I don't give the ghost too much, but if you do any little research about when we started as a band and you knew when that was, next year is a big anniversary date for the band.
I was looking at that. I was looking at that, man. That's great, man. That's great. And then
So we'll
that's
do
so
something. We're
something
still
special.
working that out. We're doing
Okay.
something special. It
Nice.
won't just,
Nice.
we'll do a big show. It's going to be a thing. But we're talking about maybe we've been around long enough and got enough material. We may do something interesting. I don't know yet. I want to give it
Okay.
up. We're still
Okay.
talking.
Well, before that happens, you hit your boy up. You
Oh
come on
yeah,
here. Let's promote, man. Let's talk about it. Let's see
love to do it, man.
we'll get some more stuff to talk about, man. You know,
Yeah.
but Cameron, brother, I want to be respectful of your time, man. You know, I love
Oh no,
talking to
we're good,
you,
man. Yeah, yeah.
man. You know, I think we could have done another hour. I feel like I feel in the
Book it
Sabbath
again, and we'll
vibes.
talk another hour. We'll take the
Yeah,
next guest.
I'm gonna try to do a Sabbath special, man, because I heard you. I'm feeling the Sabbath vibes, the Sabbath brotherhood right here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Sabbath's a huge influence on anybody who plays hard rock and metal, whether they know it or not. We openly acknowledge it.
it's the greatest band of all time, brother.
I'll leave you a Sabbath party note. We go back some years.
Yeah.
Maximum Ink magazine, which is one of the rags out of Madison, and
Mm.
now they're a radio station. Actually, very very cool guys, Rocker and his crew. And but anyway, they throw a kind of an annual show called Bomblastica in Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay. Okay.
And some years ago, Bomblastica, they were wanting to do a tribute thing, right?
Mhm.
So they asked us, could you guys do Black Sabbath? So we performed as Children of the Groove and did an entire set of Black Sabbath. This is some years ago
Nice.
now, but a big set. I even learned harmonica. We did the Wizard
No
and
way.
played it on harmonica in the
Nice.
band, and that was kind of my crowning moment for Sabbath. But yeah, man, we got into that. We even performed a few times after that.
Okay.
Like we kind of, okay, we'll go back up and we'll do like four songs as Children of the Groove, right? And
Yeah.
tell anybody we were going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, Sab's a
That's
big influence.
oh man, that's my alpha and omega, man. That's my
Nice.
there's probably some listeners that are gonna be like, God damn it, man, talked about it again. He keeps talking about Sabbath. It's my thing, man. It's my thing, you know.
We
So
could talk about all, man. We'll talk again. Well, we could talk about all kinds of bands. We could talk about, man. I mean, we've done some touring. We've opened for a lot of. I got some great rock and roll stories,
there we
man.
go, man. Yeah, yeah. No,
I got a
definitely.
Motorhead story. I got to let me kill Meister story, man.
Oh,
Like so,
dude.
we'll
Should we save
talk again.
it? You want to drop it right now or you want to save it?
We'll save that one
We'll save
because
it. Okay.
that takes a minute. That takes
Okay. Yeah, no. Like I said, Cameron, I want to be respectful of your time, brother.
yeah,
You
man.
know, no, thank you so much for coming on. You
Thanks for
know,
having me, man. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
man. No. We're definitely doing it again, man. So before I hit stop, I want to, where can people find you? Where can they do the stuffs? Talk to us.
Carbellion, CARB as in boy, ELLION. Put that in. We're on every social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, I think it's called now instead
Oh,
of Twitter.
right,
Uh,
yeah.
um, we're kind of everywhere, man. We're on all the
Beautiful.
big, all the streaming services, man. So you can check out most of our back catalog as well as Weapons of Choices on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Tidal, even Deezer. We're on all the, like I said, you can just Google us. Our Facebook page, Facebook.com/Carbellion. We're on there every day. We're on Instagram every day. I'm talking to people, doing stuff. I kind of run our Facebook page directly. So eclipserecords.com, qumranrecords.com. We got our material there. Our Bandcamp, you want to buy any of the merch and all of our stuff, you name it, we got it. Got a lot of cool stuff there, and we wheeling deals. So I feel like we're an affordable band.
Cool.
Carbellion.bandcamp.com.
There we go.
But yeah, man, and we love talking to people, meeting people through social and stuff. So I mean, you dig what we're doing, you want to know more about it, send us a message, post something, we'll talk. Love
There
to
it
talk.
is. There it is, man. There it is. Cameron, thank you so much, brother. Right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put your links in the show notes here, wherever
Cool.
people could do the thing. And then we'll go from there, man. All right, brother. Let me